couldn't wait to get back to Little Men. Linda Jean and I are really enjoying it. I think some others of you are too, but I know Linda Jean House and maybe little Katarina too. There's my, just have to pull my Lily Monster to the front. Monster. Anyway, this is a cool chapter. At dinner time, they discovered why, for then Stuffy's vengeance fell upon them and the laugh was turned against them. When the pudding was eaten and the fruit was put on, Marianne reappeared in a high state of giggle bearing a large watermelon. Silas followed with another, and Dan brought up the rear with a third. One was placed before each of the three guilty lads, and they read on the smooth green skins this addition to their own work. You know, they had written pig into the flesh of the watermelon, those three. And they had, probably with Miss Jo's help, it said, with the compliments of the, and then the pig word, with the compliments of the pig. Everyone else read it also, and the whole table was in a roar, for the trick had been whispered about. So everyone understood the sequel. Emil, Ned, and Tommy did not know where to look and had not a word to say for themselves, so they wisely joined in the laugh, cut up the melons, and handed them round, saying what all the rest agreed to, that Stuffy had taken a wise and merry way to return good for evil. And that's what we should always do. It's not easy, but it'll make you feel a whole lot better in the long run. And I just watched one of Mama Llama Kayla's videos, and she had read in the Bible about giving people second chances. And I know the Lord said, you know, forgive people 7 times, what was it, 7 times 77, something that sticks out in my mind, and I'm terrible with getting Bible quotes correct, but anyway, we're supposed to forgive, might not forget, but forgiving helps not only those we forgive, it really helps us. Anyway, Dan had no garden, for he was away or lame the greater part of the summer, so he helped Silas whenever he could, chopped wood for Asia and taking care of the lawn so well that Mrs. Jo always had smooth paths and nicely shaven turf before her door. When the others got in their crops, he looked sorry that he had so little to show, but as autumn went on, he bethought himself of a woodland harvest which no one would dispute with him, and which was peculiarly his own. Every Saturday he was away alone to the forest fields and hills, and always came back loaded with spoils, for he seemed to know the meadow where the best flagroot grew, and the thicket where the sassafras was spiciest. Sassafras is great in like teas and stuff. The haunts where the squirrels went for nuts, the white oak whose bark was most valuable, and the little gold thread vine that Nursey liked to cure the canker with. All sorts of splendid red and yellow leaves did Dan bring home for Mrs. Jo to dress her parlor with. Graceful seeded grasses, clematis tassels, downy soft yellow waxwork berries, and mosses, red-brimmed white or emerald green. I need not sigh for the woods now, because Dan brings the woods to me, Mrs. Jo used to say, as she glorified the walls with yellow maple boughs and scarlet woodbine wreaths, or filled her vases with russet ferns, hemlock sprays, full of delicate cones, and hardy autumn flowers, for Dan's crop suited her well. The great garret was full of children's little stories, and for a time was one of the sights of the house. Daisy's flower seeds in neat little paper bags, all labeled, lay in a drawer of a 3-legged table. Nan's herbs hung in bunches against the wall, filling the air with their aromatic breath. Tommy had a basket of thistledown with the tiny seeds attached, for he meant to plant them next year, if they did not all fly away before that time. Emil had bunches of popcorn hanging there to dry, and Demi laid up acorns and different sorts of grain for the pets. But Dan's crop made the best show, for fully one half of the floor was covered with the nuts he brought. All kinds were there, for he ranged the woods for miles round, climbed the tallest trees, and forced his way into the thickest hedges for his plunder. Walnuts, chestnuts, hazelnuts, and beechnuts lay in separate compartments, getting brown and dry and sweet, ready for winter revels. There was one butternut tree on the place, and Rob and Teddy called it theirs. It bore well this year, and the great dingy nuts came dropping down to hide among the dead leaves, where the busy squirrels found them better than the lazy bears. Their father had told them, the boys, not the squirrels, that they should have the nuts if they would pick them up, but no one was to help. It was easy work, and Teddy liked it, only he soon got tired and left his little basket half full for another day. But the other day was slow to arrive, and meantime the sly squirrels were hard at work, scampering up and down the old elm trees, stowing the nuts away till their holes were full, then all about the crotches of the boughs to be removed at their leisure. Their funny little ways amused the boys, till one day Silas said, "Have you sold them nuts to the squirrels?" "No," answered Rob, wondering what Silas meant. "Well, then you better fly around, or them spry little fellers won't leave you none." "Oh, we can beat them when we begin. There are such lots of nuts, we shall have a plenty. There ain't many more to come down, and they have cleared the ground pretty well. See if they hain't." Robbie ran to look and was alarmed to find how few remained. He called Teddy, and they worked hard all one afternoon while the squirrels sat on the fence and scolded. "Now, Ted, we must keep watch and pick up just as fast as they fall, or we shan't have more than a bushel, and everyone will laugh at us if we don't. The naughty quillies tarn't have 'em." I guess he's calling the squirrels quillies. "I'll pick fast and run and put 'em in the barn quick," said Teddy, frowning at little Frisky, who chattered and whisked his tail indignantly. That night a high wind blew down hundreds of nuts. And when Mrs. Joe came to wake her little son, she said briskly, "Come, my laddies, the squirrels are hard at it, and you will have to work well today, or they will have every nut on the ground." "No, they won't," said Robbie, tumbled up in a great hurry, gobbled his breakfast, and rushed out to save his property. Teddy went too and worked like a little beaver, trotting to and fro with full and empty baskets. Poor squirrels, they're robbing those squirrels. Another bushel was soon put away in the corn barn, for they were scrambling among the leaves for more nuts when the bell rang for school. "Oh, Father, let me stay out and pick. Those horrid squirrels will have my nuts if you don't." "I'll do my lessons by and by," cried Rob, running into the schoolroom flushed and tousled by the fresh cold wind and his eager work. "If you had been up early and done a little every morning, there would be no hurry now. I told you that, Rob, and you never minded. I cannot have the lessons neglected as the work has been. The squirrels will get more than their share this year, and they deserve it, for they have worked best. You may go an hour earlier, but that is all." And Mr. Bear led Rob to his place, where the little man dashed at his books as if bent on making sure of the precious hour promised him. It was almost maddening to sit still and see the wind shaking down the last of the nuts, and the lively thieves flying about, pausing now and then to eat one in his face and flirt their tails, as if they said saucily, "We'll have them in spite of you, lazy Rob." The only thing that sustained the poor child in this trying moment was the sight of Teddy working away all alone. It was really splendid, the pluck and perseverance of the little lad. He picked and picked till his back ached. He trudged to and fro till his small legs were tired, and he defied wind, weariness, and wicked quillies till his mother left her work and did the carrying for him, full of admiration for the kind little fellow who tried to help his brother. When Rob was dismissed, he found Teddy reposing in the bushel basket, quite used up, but unwilling to quit the field, for he flapped his hat at the thieves with one grubby little hand while he refreshed himself with the big apple held in the other. Rob fell to work, and the ground was cleared before 2 o'clock, the nuts safely in the corn barn loft. I wonder if the squirrels will get up there and get them. And the weary workers exulted in their success, but Frisky and his wife were not to be vanquished so easily, and when Rob went up to look at his nuts a few days later, he was amazed to see how many had vanished. None of the boys could have stolen them because the door had been locked. The doves could not have eaten them, and there were no rats about. There was great lamentation among the young bears, till Dick said, "I saw Frisky on the roof of the corn barn. Maybe he took them." "I know he did. I'll have a trap and kill him dead," cried Rob, disgusted with Frisky's grasping nature. "Perhaps, if you watch, you can find out where he puts them, and I may be able to get them back for you," said Dan, who was as much amused by the fight between the boys and the squirrels. So Rob watched and saw Mr. and Mrs. Frisky, the squirrels, drop from the drooping elm boughs onto the roof of the corn barn, dodge in at one of the little doors, much to the disturbance of the doves, and come out with a nut in each mouth, so laden they could not get back the way they came, but ran down the low roof, along the wall, and leaping off at a corner, they vanished a minute and reappeared without their plunder. Rob ran to the place, and in a hollow under the leaves he found a heap of the stolen property hidden away to be carried off to the holes by and by. "Oh, you little villains, I'll cheat you now and not leave one," said Rob. So he cleared the corner and the corn barn and put the contested nuts in the garret, making sure that no broken window pane could anywhere let in the unprincipled squirrels. They seemed to feel the contest was over and retired to their hole, but now and then could not resist throwing down nutshells on Rob's head and scolding violently as if they could not forgive him nor forget that he had the best of the battle. He should have repaid those little squirrels. Even an apple core, maybe. I don't know if they eat that or not. Father and Mother Bear's crop was of a different sort and not so easily described, but they were satisfied with it, felt that their summer work had prospered well, and by had a harvest that made them very happy. And that's the boys, of course. And that's all of chapter, whatever that was, 18, I guess. This is, yeah. We're at 19, and it's called John Brooke. So, that was the end of 18, I think. I hope I have labeled my chapters correctly and not mess up a playlist again. Be sweet. Don't be ugly. Look how it makes it all pink. Back. Pink. It's amazing what color will do on it. And I know somebody had said I had that showing up, and they thought that might have something to do with my Chromebook going off and on. I'll have to test that out and see. Cannot figure out why the Chromebook goes light, dark, light, dark. Oh, well, anyway. Live at 3 today. Love y'all. Bye-bye.